but now it is wholly supported by advertisers and subscribers. Expenses are printing and mailing. We supply the Franklin paper free to readers. Remember, independent, fearless, and free. Archives are available on web, which is useful. Last month, Mr. Egler mentioned that he had been written about by a newspaper, but he didn't say which newspaper. So we searched our archives, and we found no article with his name mentioned. We did find...
Not in the Franklin Register, no.
No.
The Daily Star, I believe.
Okay. The last thing, the website. We offer as a community service. There are pages for the farmers market with posters and vendors. The new Franklin Register, as I said, has archives. Under the land, we have a decade listing of Franklin property sales and links to the tax map and the assessment roll. For government, we have a list of officials, local laws, comprehensive plan, town minutes, voter records, and the budget. Also have pages on energy, news, and the community calendar. The expenses for that is only a service space, which we split with the Chamber of Commerce. Questions?
You have a board. Who are the board members and what are their positions, please?
You mean a Franklin local?
That's what we're talking about, right? That's what the report was about.
Well, sometimes newspapers have their own boards. We have an editorial board.
Well, you said they were the same. You have a separate board for the newspaper? Last
Yes.
meeting, we asked you and you said that they were the same. Franklin Local was the farmer's market and the paper.
Yes,
So you
Franklin
have,
Local is the organization that runs both. But there are some of the members run the farmers market, are mostly in charge of the farmers market. Some of the people are mostly in charge
but it's
of the
one
newspaper.
board.
But there's one. Okay, so you want the members of the Franklin Local Board.
Well, if there's
I'm
more
present.
members and more boards.
I'm president. Marjorie is vice president. Trish Tyrell is secretary. Ellen Curtis is treasurer. There are also Hank Stalter, Vicki Davis, and Jean Martin.
Do you have a mailing address?
Yes, 258, box 258.
P.O. box?
Yes, Franklin P.O. Box.
Do you have a checking account?
Yes,
One or two signatures on the check
one,
for a signature?
the treasurer.
Okay. You have a receipt book also?
If she does, yes.
Yes? Are you connected to the stage company at all or Compressor Free Franklin?
No.
Not at all. You have meetings, what time and where's the location?
Yes, we have monthly meetings, and the last few times it's been the third Thursday of the month at the Rich Farmhouse. We didn't have very good attendance last meeting, so we haven't set this month's meeting yet.
That's in the community center.
If you wanted
The
to,
Rich
Yeah.
Farmhouse.
Yeah.
if
Well,
somebody,
right next to the museum.
Isn't that what John calls it, the community center?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's what I found.
if somebody wanted to find the date of the next meeting, where would they look?
The website,
The website Franklin Local?
franklinlocal.org.
It's posted on there.
There's a community calendar.
When we figure it out.
I'm confused how it went from Peak Oil to Franklin Local. I mean, it was a resolution by the town board to create Peak Oil, and then it says that you changed your name from that to, in the paper.
That's a simplification. I mean,
Well, it's simple.
basically,
Well,
some of the people who were in, and this predates me, some of the people who were in the Peak Oil group went on to form Franklin Local, but they're, I mean, essentially.
so Peak Oil was disbanded then?
It faded away, yes.
But it says in the paper that you changed your name,
Yeah, that's a simplification.
but that's what it says.
There was no legal standing really for either, and so that was what the,
Well, the resolution created
Peak Oil was an entity of this town, it was requested,
Yeah,
so that is, I would say,
and
an official.
so if you were going to change the name, I believe you
it
would
was
have,
different, it was a different group of people.
it would have
in
had
many
to have
cases.
So Franklin
Been done by
Local
this
still
board.
technically is an entity of this town, is
No.
that correct?
No,
No.
Not at all.
Local is an independently incorporated company.
That might be a matter of opinion.
Now, in your newspaper, I do believe it states that you are an entity of this town, and it states the date.
2005, June, or December 6th?
it doesn't, it says, I think it says, I haven't looked at the masthead for so long, because it's been, as we said, 10 years.
Because it gets printed in every paper.
That's
And if
true.
it doesn't exist, and it does, I don't understand why the importance, the significance to print it in every paper, so it doesn't, if it's just a,
Why does it appear in every paper? If you really want to know, it's because copy and paste. I do all the layout, I do it in a very short time, and I need to look at.
So
maybe
technically what you're saying is Franklin Local is no longer an entity of the town of Franklin.
Never was.
that never was.
No. Some of the people who belong to Franklin Local, to Peak Oil, went on to form Franklin Local
With other people.
with other people, with new people.
but it says, it specifically says that you changed, Peak Oil changed its name to Franklin Local,
Yeah, that's a bit of a.
a not-for-profit LTD. But it's what it says in every issue.
Bet it won't anymore.
Well,
That's what you get for.
I think that's a bit of historical continuity to show its origins.
Let's see what it really says. It says, it does say, renamed,
well, we'll read the whole thing, please.
the whole thing, okay. The Franklin Citizens Commission on Peak Oil was authorized on December 6, 2005 by a town board resolution. Our purpose was to assess the needs and resources of the town of Franklin in the face of peak oil and to report back to the town board and to the people of Franklin. Now, I would like to stop there and report what Jean told us, Jean Marner, who was the person who started
The initial,
the peak oil thing. He said that he came to the town board many times and tried to report and was never really given much attention.
Well, then there should be a record of that in the minutes. If
Yeah, I'm
he
sure
tried,
there
if he
is.
stood up and tried
And
to
wanted to
report.
speak and was told he couldn't speak.
No, he wasn't told he couldn't speak, he was just not listening, people just say, oh, okay,
That's absurd,
next.
I've never heard of. A guy, a resident of Franklin was denied a right to speak at
no,
the,
she's not saying that. She said he spoke, but his
not
remarks
received.
weren't
Received,
really taken.
So he sort of lost heart, is what I'm getting at, and stopped reporting, and we looked and then gathered some other people around him, and thought of another way to try and carry out this mission, and that was the birth of Franklin Local. Now, when it says renamed, it means that some of the same people were part of this, and some of them were not. So maybe that's a misstatement of the actual fact. It just seemed like a perfectly decent way of saying this group of people went on to do something else, which was to put together Franklin Local. We are a not-for-profit organization made up of Franklin residents. We meet once a month, well, at 7 p.m. usually, but not always. This says at the Franklin Free Library, because we used to meet there once in a while, but now we don't anymore.
Well,
So as
actually,
you can see, there's lots of facts here that needs changing.
you must have written that at a particular time, because I think we met all of 2, maybe 3
No.
times at the Franklin Library. That never worked out.
Yeah, it was hard on the library. All are welcome to offer questions and help us answer them, to share thoughts and ideas. And that's about it. The rest of it is just, please join us.
So you are no longer considered an entity of the town of Franklin, opposed to what that says in there.
in your
Franklin
eyes.
Local is an independently incorporated 501c3. There's nothing in their bylaws about the town of Franklin.
So I make a motion, we go into recess to seek legal advice.
I second that.
Second? All in favor?
Hey.
Well,
Oh,
before
I
they close?
did,
yes.
before you go into recess, I have some, comments I wanted to speak about.
Take that back, we'll take that motion back. Yes, go ahead, Liz.
Okay, Liz Sarah from the town of Franklin. I just wanted to comment on Mr. Egler's comment about the Wi-Fi for the library at last month's meeting. He said that the kids can use the Wi-Fi at the school, and that is not true. The kids do not have access to the Wi-Fi at the school. And I think the Wi-Fi at the Franklin Free Library is a nice safety net for our children. So I think that the money that the town board gives to the Franklin Library, I think is important. And for safety, for visitors that come here, any one of us could go to that porch and get Wi-Fi access on our electronic devices. So I think that's important
After hours.
for a safety benefit for the
Yeah.
town of Franklin.
After hours,
Yes,
Yes.
yeah, the Wi-Fi connection is right through the window, and I think that's very important. You know, I've instructed my kids, if they need to get there and they need to text someone, you know, you go to the porch on the Franklin Library, because the school does not have it. And
okay.
as far as I know, there's no other Wi-Fi connection in the town of Franklin. So I just wanted to comment on that the kids cannot use the school's Wi-Fi, it's blocked. The other, I wanted to ask the Franklin Town Board about the annual financial reports, if they can elaborate a little bit.
They haven't been done, they are being worked on, yes.
Okay, so a plan, or is there a time frame?
I can't give you a time frame, no, but they are being worked on, yes.
Okay.
You know,
And who is responsible for those
I guess
financial
I am.
reports?
But Paul being the bookkeeper, I leave it in his hands to work on, and we're working on them. It's not, I mean, yeah, it's not as simple as it, you know, what I thought it was. And you know, we do the books every year, you know, and this and that should be simple, 1, 2, 3. Well, one is hard to find. Where do you start from to go from? And that's, you know, so we're gonna have to go back, you know, we're gonna have to go back to the audit, because you know, when they did the audit, things, you know, they didn't find anything wrong. So I figured the books are good till then. And now we just gotta backtrack through 3 years of spending. And that's,
I do believe
I
anytime the
got a
town's been
report.
audited, it's gotten a gold star,
yeah,
correct?
right. But
This
I've
still
got,
should be
on
available
this,
for the taxpayers of Franklin to access,
yeah,
correct? And that's
and it's, you know, it's a document that we are gonna get done, yes,
okay.
but it's not done now. And I got information from the state, it was 200 pages on this stupid thing. You know, different, you know, explanations and stuff like that. So, I mean, it's a lot more in-depth than I ever thought it was, but, and it's something we are working on. It's a work in progress.
So 2016, the current years, are they available? Or are
What do you
they
mean?
working way back from the previous years? to get them?
Before, since the budget was, since we were audited in 2012 and 13, and the state, we haven't got anything before 2012, no. To back to 2008, right, Paul?
Right.
So, I mean, Paul's more the, you know, he is a figures man, and I like figures too, but he enters them in the computer and this and that, so he probably should be talking instead of me rambling on, trying to bullshit people, I don't know.
What the state wants is from 2014 on, after they audited us in 2013, they want us to start in 2014 and work on it from there. And that's a work in progress, and it will be done
And it was
ASAP.
suggested, it wasn't mandated.
Right.
So
Well,
It
it's-
was
moving-
suggested.
Oh, just suggested, so it's not a law that
No, it has
the
to be- it
financial
has to be
reports
done.
are
It
available?
has to be done.
Yes, it will be done, Liz. I can only answer the question, same question, one way.
Okay. Going back to, you know, I'm very impressed with the Kellogg Trust Foundation, how they give that nice presentation at every meeting. They are very transparent about their financials and what projects they're doing in the town and with their funding. So, you know, looking at that and looking at the past videos of the few last meetings, it looks like the town has requested from different organizations in Franklin financial reports. So what are the groups that are commissioned by the town of Franklin? Is there a list of them? And we're just talking about Franklin Local or Peak Oil or, as
Well,
someone
the rec
mentioned,
committee.
some different
The
groups.
rec committee, they give us a report, financial report. You know, when they do their, you know, applying for the budget and stuff, I mean,
That's what was requested, a yearly report.
So that's required because they're commissioned by the town of Franklin.
That's what we asked
But as
for.
for the other nonprofit organizations, that's not mandated. That's
No.
just something
Right,
that the town board
well,
has
something that,
asked.
you know, like, the concern has been, you know, it's somewhat, you know, Peak Oil has been disbanded, basically, right? Is that what I'm understanding?
Allegedly.
Yeah,
You know, I mean, okay, so it shouldn't, because it also says that the town, you know,
It's an
established
entity
it
of that.
as an entity of the town,
That's what they
And-
requested, that's what they wanted.
you know.
The
and-
town doesn't fund them though.
No,
Or the
but
town
no.
funds the Franklin Recreation Commission.
They're an agent of the town.
They are an agent of the town.
And the town doesn't fund the Kellogg Foundation either, they're self-funding. But we still get
So the Kellogg
reports.
Foundation just very willingly gives that report.
No, they're mandated because actually, realistically, the town, you can say the town owns the Kellogg Fund. Because it has to have a municipality to be developed. You know, and we just, you know, and their board has done a fantastic job, they're, you know, and that's what we want. We wanna know what's going on because, you know, it's not taxpayers' money, no, it's you know, A.L. Kellogg money is where it came from.
but the park is the town.
It is, yeah, the
The
park,
town
and
is-
the park,
does hold the town.
the park and all the funds, basically. You can say, I mean, as far as what I understand, you know, you could say
The
the
funds
funds are,
belong to the town,
to
but
the
it's not taxpayer money.
you know, I mean, we oversee it, it's not, you know, we're
They
overseeing
came
it.
from.
I just think
Because
it's a
it-
really wonderful example of transparency. And looking at that, you know, I just really wish that the town board would be fair in their treatment to the organizations in Franklin that they're commissioning by setting the same standard for each
Well,
company.
I
You know,
think
what are they requesting? Do
we-
they want an
we-
annual report or
I
a
think
monthly
we
report?
did request for the library, we, you know, a financial report of some sort. And,
And you requested
we get it
the
from
fire
the-
department
the
too.
fire department gives us their report too, which is taxpayers' money.
So then are they, you know, the
I mean, it
Kellogg
says
is
right
read
in the
at the
paper that
meeting,
Peak
but are the
Oil,
fire
this is what got it
departments?
started, was that I had a couple individuals come to me, because it was declared in the paper that it was an entity of the town, and they wanted to know, what is this, what's it about, what's going on with it, do they report back to the town?
Answer is,
But I'm
They
not
never
really just
had.
speaking just about Peak Oil, I'm talking about
What other
the town
ones
commissioned
don't,
and what, you know,
what
what the
else is
town
there
is
that hasn't
requesting
given a
from the
report,
other
Liz?
organizations.
is there anything else that has not given a report?
Because the Kellogg is announced at these meetings, but the fire department is not, and the
If
other
they request,
organizations,
if they wanna make a
Franklin
report and
Recreation
request, they're
Commission?
entitled to time to.
we didn't get their budget request.
Okay, so Kellogg is
know-
just
we know-
doing that as an extra, they're being very
They're just
transparent.
being very transparent and, you know, I think they're doing a great job, you know, and they wanna be, I mean, that's not something we demanded, but we do like to see, you know, that, you know, when it was being developed, which, I don't know, I probably was the only one on the board, there was at that time. You know, my main point was, you know, it's a great thing, I thought they should've got more money to play with than they got, but I said, we'll never, you know, I wanna see that, a tremendous balance there. You know, at one point, they were talking a $300,000, building for their museum and, you know, their offices or whatever. You know, at one time it was 275, the next meeting went to 375, I think. Which, you know, geez, you're taking a third of third of the fund, you know, is gone. And how can you maintain everything on less money? Investments will only return so much. So the big point was, you know, that it was gonna be self-sufficient, and that we wanted to, you know, we have got the veto right on most anything they do. We have the oversight of it, and it's just mainly to make sure that it is a well-run, and it is, I mean, they're a well-oiled machine. And they're doing a fantastic job up there. And, you know, and they've all taken it to heart, they've had great people involved with it, you know, and, but the fact being, you know, I think, you know, it was also, the rules were set, you know, that we'll go forward with this, as long as, you know, some of these, you know, we wanna make sure you have, you know, self-sufficient, so there's no question down the road, oh my God, I've lost all this money, you know, how do we operate?
Yeah, no, I think you're doing a good job in that. For the Franklin Town website, any plans for that, so they can have agenda, for the monthly meetings, what's gonna be on the agenda, or if there's, public hearings, any works
Public
about a town
hearings?
website?
No, I don't have any
There's
plan,
a
I don't
nice
have any plan for.
Opportunity
website.
for transparency of the town to list, you know, the organizations.
Well, we
that
have,
are
we have the
commissioned by
public
the
meetings
town.
list, you know, advertised in our, Walton, in our, official paper.
But not everyone gets that paper, not
Well, not
everyone has
everybody's on the
access.
Well,
website.
it's in the Franklin Register, and Brian says they
I mean,
provide
is
the
it, I mean,
service
is it, does everybody look on the website?
Well, I think if we knew there was a town of Franklin website, yes, I would go to it and say, okay,
Yeah,
oh, looks
okay,
like,
okay,
you know,
yes,
Craig Dumond is gonna be on the agenda talking
Mhm.
about opiate,
Yep.
prevention and education. So that might interest some people in the town of Franklin.
Mhm.
Different, you know, Mark was talking about trying to get someone from the Delhi phone company or whatever.
Right.
You know, that would, spark interest in the people in the town of Franklin.
Well,
And
you-
if they knew they had one website to look at, that would be important, and maybe it would increase attendance here
well,
and get more people involved.
it might, but there again, when you initially responded, it was, yes, I would look at the website. And I didn't, and I said, I wouldn't look at, I don't know what, I don't go to websites. I don't look at websites. So I wouldn't, so I guess it's a whitewash, you and I would whitewash each other. I'm a people person, I wanna, if it's in the paper, I'll come, if, you know, and I think you got your, everybody's got their own circle of people. I mean, you know, and if there's something coming up, I mean, these questions that you were asking were what Brian asked last month. So you must have heard it from somebody, I'm not sure, maybe you didn't.
No, I watched the video,
Oh,
Jeff,
okay,
and I
okay.
think it's my right as a Franklin
It is,
taxpayer to ask
it
about
is.
the financial reports.
Yes, it is, and I agree. Did I say you couldn't ask?
No,
I didn't, I know. But it's something, you know, I'm just saying, you know, if, I'm sure you found out about it, or you, maybe you just watched the video, you didn't talk to anybody else about it, that very well might be, that's fine. But I am not in any hurry to do a website for the town. I guess that's the bottom line, I've been talking for 5 minutes and saying the same thing. But, you know, Franklin Local has a website. And
but
probably,
Franklin Local is not our town board, and it's not our representing our town taxpayers, is it?
Are the taxpayers willing to pay somebody though to upkeep that website and enter all the information and,
Maybe that's something that the town board could look into for the future, is
but,
taking that
you
money
know,
and
that's
using
not
it.
gonna be cheap to do either, to pay somebody to put all that in. I mean, just, you know, just knowing from what I do, and then to have to do it again on the internet would take me that much more time, you know, so. Are they willing to pay $30,000 more a year or whatever it would take for somebody to do that job full-time?
I guess, Liz, I guess to this point, I am not in favor of website, I guess, you know, we can beat this too. I mean, you know, we can discuss this, not beat it, you know, we can discuss it, but it still will come to the same end. I'm not in favor of a website. You are. If you can talk the board members into it, more power to you.
Well, it was just a suggestion.
Yep.
As a taxpayer, I don't wanna pay extra money for that.
You don't?
No.
Well, I have no idea what it would cost. I mean, figures
I-
you throw
yeah,
and
I
scare the hell out of me, but, you know, that's, you know, if it probably wouldn't cost, I don't know what it costs, but at this time, I feel if taxpayers are concerned, we have the same nucleus here every meeting, which is good. I'm not saying it isn't. They're, you know, the people here are interested. You are, and that's why you're at the board meetings. You know, and I'd love to see more. You know, we've had it where every chair's been out and they've been all full and standing, which is a great thing. And hey, ask questions, we will answer what we can. If you have you know, bring more friends to the next meeting. It's in trouble next month though, it's not here. Just so that, right? It's in trouble, right?
Yeah.
But, yes, Brian.
It's getting late, so
Yep.
just a few words, something quick, about the Chambers of Commerce. In January, the Delaware County Chamber of Commerce started its first Friday breakfast get-togethers. The first one was in Walton,
Oh,
and it's been
rotating.
rotating around the different towns. Along with the Greater Franklin Chamber of Commerce, we will be hosting the June breakfast in Franklin.
Oh,
It'll be Friday, June 2nd, from 8:30 to 10. Because it's Dairy Month, the speaker will be Nicole Gray Day from Margaretville. She's the founder of the Cheese Dairy Society of New York, which is based in Delhi. In Delaware County, members are makers of value-added dairy products such as cheeses and butters. There'll be a buffet breakfast, which will be subsidized. Tickets are only going to be $10. Starting next week, you can make reservations either on the Delaware County website or by calling their office.